But we're going to stick with the Premier League and try and give you the latest on Ilkay Gündoğan, because it's looking like a return to Man City might be on the cards. Is this a bigger story, the fact that Barca are letting him go, or that Man City are getting him back?
Man City getting him back, for me, is by far the bigger story. Barcelona letting him go makes total sense to me. Barcelona, given their financial woes, which I can make no heads, no tails about, that's just a little bit of a disaster. But then Hansi Flick wanting to play a higher press and feels that with an aging Lewandowski and an aging Gundogan, he couldn't get the best out of what would be his attackers in terms of that press. Gundogan, understandably, is surplus to requirements, because you want that out-and-out striker in Robert Lewandowski. Manchester City going back in for a 33-year-old, or albeit a 33-year-old, who served them so wonderfully well up to a couple of years ago. That's a little bit of a surprise to me. I thought Pep Guardiola would go in a different direction, a younger direction. So that, for me, is the bigger head-scratcher of the two, without question. Not that Gundogan isn't a good player. Not that he won't serve Manchester City very well, at the very least in the short term. Again, he's 33, so we have to be thinking short term here. I just didn't think that once he left, that Pep Guardiola would go back in for it.
For Barcelona, meanwhile, I commentated on a couple of the games pre-season. He had a very young squad, plus the likes of Lewandowski and others. But at the weekend, it was Bernard and Casado in that midfield area. So, yes, the financial issues have been well documented, but, the quality that's coming through La Masia. They signed Pau Victor as well from Girona. I think Hansi Flick in this 4-2-3-1 that he prefers has made his mind up. It's not a case of, oh, he's German and I'm German, I want to keep Gundogan. He's like, okay, I'm going to keep these players in my team because I know these youngsters are good.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the direction that Barcelona needs to go in. We've discussed their financial issues, and I know they continue to be linked with any number of players, which, again, keys are the latest, is a little bit of a head scratcher for me, given those financial issues. But so far, so good for Hansi Flick. You start the season, you get a good win. Young players continue to bed themselves in, as we saw over the preseason. That's all you could ask. And in terms of what the expectation is, I know we didn't touch in any meaningful way on Real Madrid, but they dropped points away to Mallorca. So all in all, it's a very good weekend for Barcelona. Very, very good weekend for Hansi Flick.
By the way, you've set it up. May as well get the question in right now. I thought Carlo Ancelotti's comments, Real Madrid, were very interesting afterwards. He says, look, we've got to find a way. We've got to find a better balance. It's great looking forward and seeing all these stars. Mbappe's come in, Vinny Jr. left, Rodrigo on the right, fitting Bellingham in as well. But they've got to work without the ball as well. And that was interesting from Ancelotti.
I thought it was, and especially given how good that front three, or if you want to call it front four, including Bellingham, worked against Atalanta in the European Super Cup. I was expecting so much more. And while, yes, you could look back and say, well, Real Madrid beaten Mallorca twice, 1-0. Certainly in Mallorca last season, it was an all-change squad. But Mallorca, a team that finished 15th in La Liga last season, to start this one, I expected more from Real Madrid. Maybe it is a little bit too top-heavy. Maybe that's the issue. And if that's the case, sad to report, for Rodrigo, he's probably the man who will get the hook at this point. But in truth be told, given performances, I don't think Mbappe was that good. I don't think Vinicius was any good. It could be anybody. It will end up being Rodrigo for obvious reasons, but maybe that's where things kind of where the imbalance is for Real Madrid and Carlo Ancelotti.
Yeah, I've done well there to keep the Premier League news to include both Barcelona and Real Madrid. But hey, tenuous links, you know what it's like. We go off on tangents from time to time.